Hello everyone, my name is Christian Daniels. Today I'd like to read you a segment of my upcoming book called Stolen Heart. Stolen Heart is a story of a young man who's been struggling with life, love, and his sexuality. Chapter 2, Bullying. I kept to myself in senior high school. I sat alone, far from the other students, ate my lunch in a corner somewhere, and didn't say a word to anyone. The only person I spoke to was my friend Chad. The bullies at school spotted me quickly. They mocked me, taunted me, and called me names. To avoid them, I would take a different path when I saw them coming. You would think in the 20th century there would be more control over bullying on school property, but that wasn't the case. I kept the situation from my parents for 4 years. I was in high school, afraid of being reprimanded. There were times I came home injured. Once, for instance, while I was quietly reading a book, I felt a sudden pain just below my left shoulder. I turned and saw this stone lying just below the back of the bench where I was sitting. Then I saw the thugs who threw it at me, laughing as they sped out of sight. I was sore for a few days. 3 months into my school year, I came home holding my wrist. I could feel it throbbing. My eyes teared up each time the pounding felt. My mother asked what happened, and I said I slipped on the stairs leaving school. I don't know, but my wrist felt broken, I said. Elliot, why didn't you go to the infirmary before coming home? My father asked. It happened just before I left. I didn't feel that bad then, but now I can hardly move it. Can you take me to the clinic? Ask your mother, my father told me. Let me see, my mother said. It doesn't look broken. I'll wrap it with a tensor band. It will be fine in a couple of days. Next time, look where you're going, my father said. Yes, Dad. They never showed any genuine concern for my well-being or bothered to listen to me. I felt an embarrassment to them for daring to be anything other than perfect. I tried every position imaginable to protect my wrist while trying to sleep. I went to the bathroom and popped some painkillers, hoping it would ease the throbbing in my wrist. In the morning, I dragged myself to school and went to the infirmary to have it checked. I closed my eyes when the nurse took my bandage off. You can breathe now, she said to me. Well, I walked out of the infirmary with a splint. Going to class, I ran into my friend Chad. He asked me what happened, and I told him I tripped. You're not that klutzy, Chad said. He's right, I thought. At least one person cares about me. Who tripped you? No one, I said, lying because I didn't want my other wrist broken. As the month went on, I felt depressed. My self-esteem lower than ever, and found it challenging to go to school. In gym class, in early March, I got punched in the face. Hey, what the fuck? I shouted. And the guy lunged into me, grabbed me by the front of my sweater, so I grabbed him too. The teacher came over, separated us, and told us to go back to the basketball game, completely disregarding what had happened. As soon as the teacher turned back, he came back to me and slugged me again, this time splitting my upper lips. Hey, you, the teacher said. Get out of my gym. I'll see you in the principal's office. I looked around and everyone seemed happy that he had left. 2 weeks later, I saw him talking to a friend of his in the schoolyard. Didn't the principal expel him? I thought. On my way to get my lunch, the friend he'd spoken to courted me outside the cafeteria and started punching me in the stomach repeatedly, then left me on the ground, went and went inside for lunch. That was it. I had enough. Being punched at, probed, beaten. So I marched into the cafeteria, looked at him straight. Fist clenched, I could feel my redness in my face as I approached his table. "Hey, dickhead," I said as I jumped on the table and sent him flying. The whole room went silent, and at a moment's notice, everyone was looking at him. There he was, on his back, having fallen backwards in his chair. Had I kicked him any harder, the sole of my running shoes would have left an imprint on his chest. I looked at him and said, "Don't you ever fucking touch me again, you asshole." That got me a trip to the principal's office, and there the principal shouted at me harshly, "Elliot Dennison, violence is not allowed in this school. What the hell were you thinking about?" "Self-defense," I told the principal, holding back my tears. "Self-defense? The boy was sitting quietly before you assaulted him." "Sorry, sir, but this boy, as you call him, punched me in the stomach over and over again just before that. Paul and his friends have been harassing me since I started school. They even broke my wrist." The principal over the intercom asked Paul Brampton to the office. "What did I do now? Paul, come on in," said the principal. Paul looked at me and stood beside me. "Elliot tells me that you've been bugging him and even fractured his wrist. Is that true?" "What? He probably fell. He's clumsy." "You can ask Kevin and Mark. They told me they saw him trip on the stairs. I never did anything to him." "That's so not true, and you know it," I said. "Thank you. You can go now, Paul." On his way out, Paul winked and gave me the finger. What the hell, I thought. He always seems to get away with everything, and the principal believes him. "Elliot," the principal said. I was too furious to say anything, so I kept quiet. "Next time you physically hurt him, or someone, you'll be expelled. I will not tolerate such behavior from you." "Wow," I said. "I was only defending myself from people who've been bullying me and battering me. How come those guys have not been punished for their behavior?" I stormed out of his office. I learned later that Paul Brampton was the principal's nephew, which explained everything.